Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Critics Anonymous. I'm Robert Garza.
And I'm Caleb Kilian.
And we are two idiots who have no business critiquing anything,
but are giving our opinions on everything.
Today we would like to welcome all of you again to our From Home edition.
Yes, unshaved and in need of a haircut. We are bringing this episode to you from the comfort of our homes.
April 28th is National Superhero Day.
And we wanted to discuss all things superheroes.
To join us in this episode's discussion, we welcome one of the hosts of the podcast, Spider-Man Snacks Idiots.
And also, one of our good buddies,
Parker Thomas.
So grab your best super suit and cape.
Or throw on your best secret identity glasses.
And let your spidey senses run wild with us.
Onomatopoeia optional.
Kapow! Thanks, everybody, for being here today. We're really excited to be here with Superhero Day coming up on April 28th. We felt it only appropriate to bring on the master of all things superheroes, our very good buddy, Mr. Parker Thomas. Thank you for being here.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here. Cannot wait to nerd out with y'all. It's going to be fun.
Nerd out. I love it. Before we get too far into the superhero fun, I want to make sure that we do have our fun beer segment because of the wonderful work from home situation, social distancing situation. I want to make sure that we all have an ample time to read some back labels on this round. So instead of our normal one beer that we normally do, we're going to do 3 beers. We've all brought a beer to the table, and we're all going to have a back label segment. So please sit back and enjoy. Parker, start us off.
From Oso Brewing and Distillery, we have Te Quiero Barrel-Aged Stout. Now, this is a Mexican chocolate stout aged in tequila and rye whiskey barrels with Mexican chile-bean peppers. This sucker packs some cinnamon, some peppers, some chocolate, just a hint of rye whiskey, and the finish is extremely smooth.
Damn,
I'm kind of jealous that I dare.
I'd listen to that any day. Like, good Lord.
Yes, tell me more, please.
Please, Parker, read some other labels, please.
Yeah. Here, read mine. Read mine.
I quit. I don't want to read mine. Parker just gets all of them.
Take it.
Just take all of it. I just
Parker,
don't want it
we're
anymore.
recording today. I need you to come in and read a label for me. Thanks. It's just like the mattress tag or something.
I can't. I have a chair to sit in.
The official voice of Critics Anonymous Beer is Parker Thomas.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, he had that sexy flair in there. How's your wife even survive? Good Lord.
Well, I think the sweating is from the heat in the apartment, actually. But
okay.
Caleb, what you got?
All right, for my beer today, I have That Brewery. Yes, it's called That Brewery. The beer is the Road Rash IPA. An American-style IPA with perfect balance. The nose consists of floral, spicy pepper, starts out with notes of grapefruit and citrus zest, finishes with a strong hop flavor that doesn't linger. And it is now available in cans for a road rash everyone can appreciate.
I don't know if anyone appreciates a road rash ever.
That's why I picked this because it was good. Okay, first of all, it's called That Brewery, which I just thought was incredible. How many people? Let's go to That Brewery. Okay, you know what I mean? Like people say that all the time. That Brewery. So just call your brewery That Brewery.
That bar, that restaurant. That's awesome.
Yeah. Isn't there? There really is a That restaurant, isn't there? I think there is.
It's isn't it? I know what you're talking about, but it's like I don't care or something like that. I don't care.
Good
cafe
statement.
or something.
That helped everybody listening to this.
That
Like,
was whatever. Shut up. Tell us about your stupid can. Tell us about your Road Rash, Caleb.
It's pretty good. Road Rash IPA. I dig it a lot. It's pretty simple. It just has kind of some hops on it. It's a black can with some cool designs on it, and then it just says Road Rash IPA. And it's black and yellow. Can't go wrong with that, right? The whole song about it, apparently. So yeah, I just think it overall really good can. Not a great back label. Honestly, there's no actual back label on it. I stole it from the website, so whatever kind of website back label, but whatever. I'm just taking it.
Well, it was either that or the Surgeon General's warning, so I guess we'll take that one.
And nobody wants to read that. Everybody's like, Surgeon General doesn't exist. Well, Surgeon General kind of exists right now. Okay, Robert, what's your beer that we have right now?
We have Santan Brewing Company's Hefeweizen. A unique Southwestern style hef that explodes with notes of citrus, lemon peel, banana, and clove, offering an unfiltered wheat to beat the heat.
Wheat to beat the heat. I love that. I think that's
sold.
my favorite one. I'm sold. I want it. That's the beer that I want.
Funny.
That's the winner.
That's funny because you know what? I was like, this one's stupid. And then I'm like, all right, I'll be the closer in this one.
Yeah. What are you going to take? A Road Rash that you can appreciate or wheat to beat the heat? It is 95 in Phoenix right now. So, you know.
Yeah.
Get you some
As
wheat.
Arizonans, we know, like,
As Arizona's 95 is really not that it's not that bad, and everybody
it's
bitches
still
about
spring. Well, that was good. As far as labels go, like the cans, I think mine's definitely very Arizona, right?
the heat.
You have the lemon
heat.
citrus, the lemon and orange combo. It's very Arizona. Like, I guess if I had to give, show you guys here. If I had to give mine an overall rating, I'd give it a 6 because it's pretty solid. It's pretty cool. The label was pretty cool. I like the way they worded it. So that's mine.
I think I'd, considering I can feel mine and I'm just a third in. I skipped lunch, so that could help. But yeah, the label on this is pretty sick. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a bull, kind of a zombie bull. He's got the matador hooks in him, and he just looks pretty angry.
Yeah, I'm a little ashamed of my label compared to that. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty intense label.
Yeah, so you had to give it a rating 8. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Mine's pretty basic, but I'm pretty minimalist. Just name, hops, black and gold, black and yellow, whatever you want to call it.
I like it.
I was gonna give it a higher rating, but then I saw Parker's game changer can that he had to bring to the party. So I think I'm just gonna go with a good old flat 5 on mine because I just went the minimalist route. But it's okay. It's all right. I'll have to step up my game for the next one.
I love how you were like minimalist. I'm a minimalist, and I'm like you just raved about a brewery that's called That Brewery. So if that isn't like the actual like used example of you saying how much you love minimalism, that was pretty great.
It's literally
It's the most minimal that you can go.
Yeah, it's like I'm simple. We're just gonna name it That Brewery.
Yeah. I don't want to come up with a name.
That guy.
Maybe we need to change the name of our podcast. We're just no more Critics Anonymous. We're just That Podcast.
Hey, maybe there's an idea there. What's your podcast?
If anybody
That
takes
podcast?
it, yeah, I want the money for it. Everybody has to give me trademarking it.
Parker,
you guys heard of
do
that
it.
podcast? Which podcast? Who's on first? What's on second?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great.
I'm changing all of our social media. We're That Podcast.
Right. We are, as of this moment, we are now That Podcast. That Podcast. All right.
Before we get way too off on our That Podcast, Mr. Parker, thank you. Ew, that was weird to say it with Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Mrs. Parker.
Mr. Parker.
What do you want?
All right, so let's jump into this. Parker, welcome to the podcast. Now I feel weird talking. Okay.
You f***ed it up too. You gave me shit.
I did.
Cool. So moving on to our first subject, before we get too far into the superhero fun stuff, I want to make sure that we give a big shout out to Parker. Big thank you for you being here, man. Just to give everybody a little bit of chance to know Parker and meet Parker. We want to let him talk a little bit. He's a great friend and a great podcaster. He has a great podcast called Spider-Man Snacks and Idiots. Parker, did I get that correct? I always feel like I mixed those three. I did. Yes, I got it correct. Great podcast. It's really, really fun. It's you and 3 other guys. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's right now. It's me and 2 others. We're kind of on ice right now, just because life happens. But we plan to pick that
Corona
up.
And all that other stuff too.
Yeah. Right.
Very cool, man. So yeah, give us a little background on yourself. We'd love to just know a little bit about you. If you could give us a little background on the podcast and what the podcast was about as well, I think people would love to hear that.
Absolutely. I do a little bit of civil engineering stuff, but ultimately I enjoy reading comics, playing video games, the whole 9 yards. I'm almost 30 and I still like that stuff. So no shame, right? But we made a podcast.
Bro, seriously, no shame. I've gotten into video games more than I have in like the last 15 years.
No shame. I'm older than 30 and I'm enjoying all of this. So
no shames all around. We basically we made a podcast off these interests, and we discuss comic books, pretty much anything that has to do with Marvel, DC, Image, any movies that have come from them, and pretty much any kind of pop culture references surrounding that. We discuss it, we give our opinions. We might actually say we're kind of similar to these guys, but and we don't know much about it.
I have to tell you all, if you have not heard the podcast, I highly suggest going and listen to it. My favorite segment, and I'm just going to brag on you a little bit, my favorite segment is by far your news segments, because just like we heard in our wonderful beer segment, you put on that sexy news voice, and you're just killing all the ladies with that news segment.
Might be.
I want you to know he's raving. I want you to know he's raving about your sexy news voice, but he hates when he does radio voice. Just so you know.
I hate when. Oh, yeah, I do hate when I do a radio voice.
He'll read something, he'll be like, "Oh, that was total radio voice. I'm going to do that again." I'm like,
okay. So backstory with the radio voice, so everybody knows. I worked at Starbucks for like 10 years, and I probably 200 times plus. I had people come around from when I would take their orders in the drive-thru and come around to the window, and they'd be like, "Oh, you need to be in radio because you're just so good on your radio voice." And it's like, am I not sexy enough to be on TV? Like, what's going on?
I mean, you were sexy enough to be in the window when they pulled around, so that works.
That counts, right?
Robert, just leave. Just go home. I'm going to interview Parker all by myself. Just get out of here.
See, I hate my voice. Like many other people like me, I hate my voice, but it's heard quite a bit. So, because I like to talk.
The thing that I actually hate, this is going to sound super conceited, but I'm just going to say it. I love the way that my voice sounds in my head, because obviously that's what I hear. And then I hear it on this podcast, and I have to edit this podcast. And then I just want to shoot myself, because it's not the same. It just doesn't.
In your head, what do you sound like? Are you a William Shatner, or are you a Sarah Silverman?
I don't
what do you
know.
sound like?
I don't know.
I'm sure he thinks he's Deadpool.
Well, yeah. I mean that. Yeah.
Where everything that comes out of your mouth is gold.
I mean, who doesn't want to be Wade Wilson? Let's be real.
Do you guys have a rivalry on Instagram too?
No, we just have a rivalry with Deadpool versus freaking Wolverine, and which is actually kind of funny because they actually have a rivalry themselves.
That's what I was saying.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. Whatever.
You make gin.
Okay.
He makes coffee.
Yeah. No, he makes. Is it coffee?
Yeah. He owns coffee shops, and the other one owns gin company.
Aviation or something. Yeah. Anyways.
Which I do want to try.
I do want. I don't like gin though.
I don't either, but
we can bring Chew back on, and he'll drink all the gin for us.
That's true.
Very cool, man. So kind of some of the stuff that we thought would be fun to talk about. April 28th, National Superhero Day. I don't know about you all as well with the current COVID / work from home situation, I don't leave my house much. So Disney Plus is becoming really great. So I've been watching a lot of Marvel movies and superhero movies, mainly just Deadpool because I love Deadpool, which I guess
Who's
is
that?
technically that was Fox before. Now I don't know, whatever, that whole thing. So I think it'd be really cool to just dive into some superhero fun. So just off the bat, I think probably people could guess a little bit by this point, but everybody go around, round robin, favorite superhero currently in the superhero universe.
Well, okay, currently that's kind of rude because I mean his series is like he died. That was mean. That was
Low blow.
that.
I had to
Fine.
go for it. I'm sorry.
You know,
I had to go for it.
Take my sexy window comment for you back. Well, yeah, mine is obviously Wolverine. Alias is Logan. His real name James Howlett. That's been my favorite. Probably I want to say since I was like 4 or 5. I've always loved that character. So my favorite, and anyone that knows me knows that it's my favorite.
Okay, real talk. Do you like the classic cartoon Wolverine with the yellow spandex, or are you into the, black cool version that they did in the movies?
So funny enough, I actually had a costume that was the yellow and blue spandex when I was a kid. Not when I was an adult, when I was a kid. And
I was hoping he was going to say he still had it.
It still fits. It stretches.
So
things that you don't want to imagine right now.
I will get to that though, actually, in a second. No, I had that when I was a kid, and that for me was always how I knew Wolverine to be. Was just kind of this ruthless beast, basically. But I think I found an appreciation when Hugh Jackman portrayed him, because he played him a little more dark and a little more, I think, real. It was more real for me when I saw that portrayal of it. So I think I grew up and I knew Wolverine as the yellow spandexioso. Yeah. Spandexioso person that he was. But I don't know. I think oddly enough, I felt like I related more to the Hugh Jackman portrayal. So I guess it just depends on my mood. I still watch the X-Men cartoons because thank you, Disney Plus. But I mean, I definitely enjoyed the way he portrayed him. So if I had to pick one of the two, I think I'd go with the Hugh Jackman portrayal in the more recent movies. Because I think that he epitomized what and who Wolverine was.
Well, and honestly, I think for me, it was the beginning of the X-Men series with Hugh Jackman and Logan, the end of Wolverine within the series. The middle was, I don't know, just because the whole X-Men franchise got all jacked up and they started doing all the multiple timelines thing, and that got all weird. The middle for him, I don't feel is a justification for him, and that's nothing on him as an actor or the character. I think the universe as they want to portray it kind of did not do him justice. But I'll definitely say at the beginning and the end, those are my two versions that I love. The end, Logan, is a movie outright, even if you're not a superhero fan, I still feel like Logan is a worthwhile watch because just the acting, the portrayal, it's something different. It's not your typical action-packed, but there's plenty of action. I'm not saying that, but it's not the same story that you've seen in the superhero movies thus far. So, yeah, I definitely think those are my two top favorites.
Yeah, I mean, just from a cinematic standpoint alone, Hugh Jackman will forever be one of my favorites. He's incredible. And they knew that going in. There's nobody that can portray Wolverine like Hugh Jackman can, and he's, I think, to date, the only superhero in cinema that has gone, from the beginning all the way literally to the end. I don't want to spoil anything, but he, went from one production company to another and to another. And yeah, I don't think they can bring him back in the form of anyone else. I think anyone is an undercut. So yeah,
I will say that he set that bar high. That being said, though, I think actually for all of the X-Men movies themselves, I think they did a pretty good job of still the same actors that started the whole, I guess we'll say, series of them were there at the end as well. So like, Patrick Stewart was still Professor X, and so like there are still some of the really main ones that stayed the same throughout. I think when it got weird is when they of course tried to do the weird timeline thing like Caleb brought up earlier and all of the stuff. Now you want to talk about a character, right? Speaking of Wolverine movies and characters changing and stuff, there was one called Wolverine Origins, where there was a character that somebody else loves.
No.
What's yours, Caleb?
This is a family-friendly podcast.
No. That wasn't real.
I remember it.
If someone would go watch the second movie, he would know that it wasn't real.
What wasn't real?
That was such a bad interpretation. All right, I'll go. I'm a massive Deadpool fan. I'm a massive Ryan Reynolds fan, and I'm a massive Ryan Reynolds fan because I was vowing for Ryan Reynolds to be Deadpool years before he ever got that dumb role, because I just felt like he was the perfect Wade Wilson of all time. And so him getting that role was awesome. And then, they did that dumbass portrayal in freaking Wolverine Origins, and it was stupid, and I was super angry about it. How do you sew the merc with the mouth shut? It doesn't make sense. It makes me so angry. I'm happy that he got shot in a freaking second movie, so whatever.
You want to know a fun fact? There is an issue, I believe it's from 2007, of Deadpool, and in the dialogue, they say, they're describing him. What does he look like? And it said it literally said, "You ever picture Ryan Reynolds bitten by a radioactive Shar-Pei?"
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
And that was before anybody knew that he was ever going to play him. So it's just like it was meant to be.
Yep.
Or do you think they made him, or they picked him because of the similarities between the two?
He fought hard for that. He wanted it.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds was fighting for that part for a long time. Ryan Reynolds, I mean, although he probably won't say it, but he's kind of hinted at. He's the one who leaked the footage on the Deadpool stuff that then led to the first movie.
I remember that.
Or Fox did. I think Ryan Reynolds did it. But regardless, he's been vying for that character for a long time. I think for me though, the thing that I just love, I mean, really, it sounds really stupid. So background on me. I want to get this out before everybody in the comments goes berserko. I'm not a huge like comic book person. I actually got into the movies, but way before I got into comics. So I started like when Marvel Iron Man started, I got into the superhero thing, and then I backtracked and did the comics thing. So don't get mad at me if I get some stuff wrong. But the thing that I've always loved is like I discovered Deadpool actually in the Deadpool video game. And there's just something about that anti-hero, and especially with Deadpool, his like, comical battling himself. And that was something that they couldn't portray in the movie as well. But if you play the video game, it's hilarious. He actually has like an inner monologue with a second version of himself. It's almost like good versus, well, actually it's not good by any means. It's like evil versus worse evil at that point. But, it's just, I just love that whole kind of like character contrast and just how comical he was, the merc with the mouth thing. I have a little bit of a mouth on myself, so maybe it just resonates with me a little bit, but like, I don't know, something about that character I resonate with. And then obviously Ryan Reynolds getting it was pretty stellar. So
great game.
I'm all about the Deadpool. So good.
Very underrated.
I don't think I actually played that or knew about it, so I'll have to check it out now.
We could totally play it.
It's so much fun.
I'll send it to you. It's so good. Parker, what about you? What's your character of choice?
My character, and this kind of goes way back, but my favorite is Spider-Man, and it was never a name thing. That just happens to be that's just coincidental, I promise. But I grew up with a father who loved comic books, and one of his first jobs, he owned a comic book shop in Virginia. And he would go to,
what? Hold on. I never knew this. I've known you for a long time. I never knew your
family.
This.
Yeah. I know your family, and I did not know that
your
either.
Dad. How did I not know this?
My dad has dabbled in literally everything. But he owned a comic book shop for a few years called Stand Up Comics. He was like 18, and it was his first business. And he went and traveled around. He at one point actually got his hands on a mint in packaged edition of the Amazing Spider-Man issue 1, which, as everybody knows, is worth quite a bit. But he had one at one point in his shop, and he didn't know it was worth. Sold it off for like $3,500 at the time, and kicks himself every day for it. But no, he just
holy moly.
Yeah, he had a box of comics that he took. He left, it was a ton of Star Wars comics. He had some Punisher stuff, graphic novels, and a whole bunch of stuff, and a bunch of Spider-Man comics. And it was the point of a heavy disciplinary day, but I got into them because I didn't understand the concept of taking comics out of out of the sleeves. And I read through a bunch of them, and I fell in love then and there with comics. I was like 6 or 7. But yeah, it goes way back. Spider-Man was always my favorite.
Okay, so I have to ask, and I feel like I probably heard this on one of your podcasts, but I still have to ask, out of all the Spider-Mans that you've seen so far, movie-wise.
That was totally my question too. That's hilarious.
All the portrayals. Which one?
Yeah, you want to talk about a character that's had multiple different people portray it,
Seriously.
Well, it's funny. I will always have a soft spot for Tobey Maguire. I don't know that Sam Raimi Spider-Man can do no wrong, even when he did a lot of wrong. But I love this Tom Holland guy. I think he is exactly what the comics were going for. He is a portrayal that, I don't typically like when they reboot things over and over and over again. It's like beating a dead horse with another dead horse. I like that they made this choice, though. I think he was a good financial choice.
I totally agree. The thing that I love about, and I agree with you as well. Like the Tobey Maguire. That was, it's just, I think it's more nostalgia because that was like one of the first. I just loved.
We were kids.
Sam Raimi is a great director, and it was a really great series. The third movie is negotiable because I love Venom, and they totally effed that whole thing up. But yeah, I agree with that. But the thing that I loved when the Tom Holland Spider-Man came out is that made me think and feel of the cartoon that I watched literally religiously as a kid. The
Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man cartoon, just the very comical, very fun, very young Spider-Man that was going around and doing all that stuff. I was like, man, they finally captured. Tobey Maguire was a little too old at that point. I understand why they went that way. Even the Andrew Garfield, they got the comical side a little bit with the Andrew Garfield thing. But it was still too old. It was still too, in the college years, in the past college years. And I feel
like they portrayed him a little more, like almost a little too mature, or in a weird way, it was almost like this is an adult and he's immature. Like it was, I totally get it.
Yeah, they had people casted in the Tobey Maguire series that were like in their late 20s. Some of them were in their early 30s, and they were in high school.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Very cool. So we've done our favorites. What are some of your least favorites / maybe strangest / I just don't like these characters? Parker, what do you got for your least favorite, strangest?
It's funny. I've got 2 on my least faves, and I couldn't really think of any more. These 2 are specific. I think when he was created at the time, it was necessary, but it was just too much. Even still, by today's standards, it's too much. But Superman, and I don't know too many people.
Wow, that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, and it's not that I dislike. I mean, if there were anybody's abilities that I could wake up tomorrow with, it would be Superman. So it's kind of like an irony here. But I think I don't know. It's too easy, And having watched the latest Superman movies and then the total destruction on the city, I'm one of those people. It's like you just cost like $1 trillion worth of damage, and that doesn't happen. The world doesn't come back from that.
Right.
But. So there's that. And another one of my least favorites, and he's like a classic. He's actually the first actual Spider-Man villain is the Chameleon. And the guy, they were thinking small at the time. The guy didn't have any actual powers. He would put masks on that could somehow, he could like replicate people's, he was kind of like Mystique, but didn't actually have any powers. He just had a lot of masks. And he was the like crime lord over all these people that actually had powers and were way more, powerful than him. And I'm thinking, I don't like him.
Yeah,
it's like somebody's gonna get wise and like, hey, why are you in power? But as far as Strangest goes, and I've read quite a bit of comics. If you ever get a chance to read the comic series, The Endless, or it's the Sandman. Fantastic series. It's Neil Gaiman. I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of the best things I've ever read, and I read the whole series in like a month. But very strange individuals involved. I won't give too much away, but there's a girl by the name of Element Girl. She's freaky looking, but she can control the elements. And her story is kind of tragic because she actually commits suicide. And then there's another one.
That was a downer. Thanks.
I know, seriously.
Yeah, and
like, holy moly.
I'm gonna take a drink of my beer for that one.
But her whole backstory is extremely strange, very worth reading. But and then there's another one, Speedball, who turns into Penance, and he actually was along the Civil War storyline. Great read if you ever get a chance to. So, yeah,
Dang, I might have to check those out. That sounds really well. Besides the suicide gal, but that sounds really cool.
I'll read that when I'm really, really happy.
Yeah,
just to even it out,
Let's bring it down
I can't do it on a bad day because then I'm just gonna be like, I'm really sad now.
Mind you, it was in one arc she did it. It was actually in the Sandman arc. So, but great reading. Yeah,
very cool. Robert, how about you? What's your least favorite / strangest?
I think, and I really don't know why. Well, I actually, that's a lie. I do know why. I have never liked Batman. Ever.
Okay, you're really going away now. We're done.
Podcast
over.
We're ending.
And I think no. Okay, and I think the reason why is because he is just in everything, and I feel like they try. So you want to talk about beating a dead horse with a dead horse? That is. It's like he won't go away, even when he has like. I think the only series, if anything, I liked was when there was the cartoon in the 90s. That was the only
so good.
Batman series I think I liked. But outside of that, like I kid you not, like I've rooted for the villain in every single Batman movie. I just cannot find myself to be on Batman's side. And this is going to sound bad, but it's like, I think I have more of an animosity towards like his whole, like why he's a superhero thing. Like, just put on your big boy pants and deal with it. I don't know. I don't know how to, I just cannot. I know I'm terrible. He doesn't really have superpowers. He just has like a crap ton of money. Like, no, Superman is better because he at least has an ability to do something. All Bruce Wayne can do is take the tab at the end of the night. It's like, sorry.
His rogues gallery, though, he's got like the greatest rogues gallery besides Spider-Man.
just bury, just dig that hole, bury that great.
I'm telling you, the Joker is a better superhero than him. So
I kind of agree with you there. I actually like as far as the Batman, I guess mantra or whatever. If you're gonna, I like Rorschach better. Rorschach from Watchmen, because he's got the whole Batman thing going, but he has no money. He's basically homeless.
Yeah. Yes, it's like the opposite of Batman.
Yeah, he's just angry at the world.
Yes, exactly. But no, so I've never found myself rooting for him. I think the strangest one, oddly enough, it's in the Fantastic Four family, if you want to call it. I go back and forth between Mr. Fantastic and The Thing. Because I don't know. It's I guess
Thing is basically
Fantastic.
The Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. It's like redundant. Okay.
Poor Ben. He's just covered in rocks.
I know, and I feel bad because like I had no like not that I don't like the character or whatever. I'm like, but why? And then but with like Mr. Fantastic, it's like, okay, you can stretch. It's like, you have Elastigirl from The Incredibles. Like,
yeah, Elastigirl. She's
yes,
very
I know
useful.
Mr. Fantastic came first, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird to me. It's just strange. I don't know. Not even Doctor Strange is stranger.
Mr. Fantastic breaks physics. That's the only thing I don't like about him. It's like he breaks laws, but they all kind of do, I guess, right?
Yeah, the dude who's faster than a bullet and blows up cities. And see, I disagree with you all because Batman's awesome. and he's my second favorite superhero of all time. So I'm just deleting that whole segment out of this whole podcast because
It's okay. I can download my own audio.
Oh, crap, that is true. It's gonna come out on social media. This is what was really in the podcast. I'm telling you, I said it. It's here. Yeah, I am a Batman lover. I love Batman, and I'll give you a little bit of track on. I actually don't think Batman is Batman without the Joker. If there was no Joker, I don't think Batman is as popular or as cool as what he is.
Even more of a reason for him to not even be a thing.
No.
Give me a series on the Joker, and I'll be more entertained.
Okay, moving on. I just can't even win with you.
You want some good reading, though? The graphic novels around Batman are fantastic. If you ever get to read Hush or The Long Halloween or The Killing Joke, God, or Year Zero. Year Zero is just classic. That's like one of the best things you'll ever read.
I don't even think the movies or whatever the cartoon films that they made about Hush and The Killing Joke are as good as the graphic novels, but even those do it justice. It's like it's such a good story. And Hush is so good because it really is that human to human interaction. Batman is the only real superhero. He's the only real one that could survive and do real life things.
Yeah. Read Year Zero and then The Dark Knight Returns. It, like, hands down one of your favorite graphics. It's
so good. So good.
I will try.
It's Frank Miller, so yeah.
Moving on from your Batman comic.
So what are your least favorites?
Least favorites, man.
If you say what I like, then you're definitely ending this.
Sorry, whatever. Wolverine, least favorite. Hate Wolverine.
Done.
So. No, I think I don't know if I have like a totally like least favorite. Like I said, most of my knowledge base is like movie first, comic second. Ant-Man. I'll give you this. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. I love as Ant-Man. I think that was such a good casting for Ant-Man. I just like, what the hell is the use of an Ant-Man? I just don't like. It doesn't make. I don't know. It's cool. The movie was cool. I liked the movie. They were fun to watch. But like, I don't know what do you need an Ant-Man for? I
like DC's version better. The Atom is, I think, cooler because he can grow and shrink to much larger proportions and shorter proportions. But
well, it makes more sense. And now, like the thing that they introduced, the whole growing thing. What the hell is the Ant-Man part now? At least Atom makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, that's like the growing and stretching of molecules and all that stuff. Atom makes sense. Ant-Man. I don't know. There's just some weird stuff there. And Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I think the growing variation came from Giant Man, but and that was Lawrence Fishburne's little cameo in that movie. He was Giant Man. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I have to say, like, I recently just watched some of the movies I hadn't watched before.
Yeah. What movie did you just watch? This pissed me off so bad the other day.
Prior to us deciding the topic for this, I had not seen any of the Captain America movies. I had seen every Avengers movie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Didn't watch the first Avenger. I didn't watch Winter Soldier. I didn't watch Civil War.
Talk about saving the best for last. God.
It was funny.
So much of the Marvel universe is based around Civil War.
Yes.
How did you watch the whole last 3 or 4 movies? Whatever.
I just, I'm good at putting stories together. I'm the type of person that I can watch a movie and be like, oh, this person dies, and before it happens. That's just me. But I would argue that Captain America: Civil War was just another Avengers movie.
Well, yeah, that's kind of it's like the unnumbered one.
Exactly. So, but I was watching them, and
I disagree.
Okay. I'm gonna sew your mouth shut. No. Deadpool. No, so I was watching them and I was like, actually, okay, you know what? I did miss out on some of the disposition, right? Yeah. I missed out on some of the story and backstories on some of these characters. And even I saw some of the characters when they were introduced either in the Marvel movie or the Avengers movies or any of the other hero movies. But when I watched them actually be introduced in some of the Captain America movies, I was like, oh, I got it. So like the Winter Soldier, for example, I knew he was a character. I watched him in some of the Avengers movies, and I was like, I knew he was, Captain America's like best friend, all this stuff. I was like, all right, cool. And then I'm watching and I was like, all right, I get it now. There's a lot more to this, and how even I think the Captain America movies, definitely the storylines were some of the backbone to the entire story. And I thought that was really cool. So I was like, all right, I've been sleeping on this. And so I watched them, but I also watched both Ant-Man movies, or Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I was like, okay, I get it. That being said, I do feel like Ant-Man and Captain Marvel, I liked Captain Marvel. I thought it was good. But I thought those two movies were movies that they were like, we have to incorporate them to make this ending work for all of the Avengers. So I was kind of like, I don't know, it kind of felt weird to watch those after everything, because I'm like, oh, I guess you really needed them to tell your story, but I felt like they didn't put enough effort into those as much as the others. Like the main, like the Iron Man, the Captain America, the Thor type of stuff. So
they seemed like sidekick movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I could.
Well, and I would agree that those were movies that were purely instigated to try and put in some of the key concepts to let some of the other bigger movies work. In-game doesn't work without introducing the quantum realm / time travel. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that comes out of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So there really is a point that, like, hey, you have to tell those stories to really understand these other stories, which I respect. I mean, that's a pretty common, storytelling thing that you have to navigate pretty hard. It's just, you do have to give information to the audience so that they understand where some of this. You can't just do in game and then time travel is amazingly all of a sudden possible and blah blah blah. It's just that's not how it works. So
I think logistically they did it really well how they did it, because you take into consideration that there were certain things that were protected by copyright and infringement on other ownership, and stupid Fox. It's like, fine, if you won't sell to us, we'll just buy you out.
Okay, I love that. Stupid Fox, freaking stupid Fox. Just like stupid Fox.
Stupid Fox.
Stupid Fox is ruining all our stuff.
Which I think, so kind of going even to yours, Parker, like having Spider-Man, I felt conflicted with it, because I do like Spider-Man. I like the character and everything. I don't know if they needed to include that character. And I mean this just because, like...
Choose your words wisely, friend.
I know. It was just like, I'm going to burn so many bridges in this 1 hour that we have with each other. No one's ever going to talk to me again. It's okay.
Listen,
I'll just be alone. I'll be even more alone.
Parker's never coming on the podcast again.
Yeah. I feel like these guys are trash. I think a part of me felt like it was more Marvel saying, oh, we finally got Spider-Man back and we can do things with Spider-Man. We're going to throw him into this whole universe. But I do think the way they did it was really great. But it did kind of feel like more like it was almost like a ha-ha, like to Fox, like we got our guy back and now we can do really cool things with him and stuff. So
I agree 100%. It was an audience ploy. I mean, when you see the web grab the shield, it's like, oh my God, everybody loses their minds. They knew how to play that one, but you're right. It was a throw in.
Yeah. I looking at the overall like storyline, other than really showing that Tony Stark had a heart and cared about the future, I guess you could say, of the Avengers and the heroes going forward, he didn't have a huge impact in the storyline. So, I did enjoy watching him, and I was just like, I don't know, it made me feel good. Like, Spider-Man is part of the team. Of course, now the X-Men will never be part of the team because they're still stuck and stupid.
I think that was the huge part of why they included him is because he was one in the comics. I know he was a huge part of the Infinity War timeline, and so it did just feel, regardless of not being able to build him up in the way that probably he deserved, it just felt like it was a missing hole in the Infinity War timeline to not have Spider-Man with him. So the fact that they were able to make that deal happen, one, I can tell you, like, I know enough about the film world, that shit does not happen. The fact that they were able to come and then for it to fall apart and then renegotiate itself into a place where they're still being able to make that, I was like, dang, like this is a weird happening. Like, we have not seen this in the film world all that much. So I commend them. I agree with you that, it was very abrupt. But I also think would Civil War, would Infinity War, would Endgame really be as good as they were without that? I mean, the Tony Stark, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, whatever, Peter Parker
Yeah.
relationship, like that was so deep, and that was just a
Mhm.
few movies, you know. So
Yep.
I don't know if you can win those movies without those things.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that whole acquisition, that was a Simpsons, comedy point at some point in the early 2000s. That stuff doesn't happen. It was
No, yeah, that stuff doesn't happen, and I'm still surprised that that stuff is still capable of going that way. You know, it's just that Spider-Man. Honestly, when I heard that Spider-Man was gone, I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm kind of sad, but it was kind of crazy. So,
I was losing my mind for a minute.
well, I didn't know how the heck they were going to move forward. I didn't, again, Deadpool fan, so Venom, anti-hero type of character. I love Venom, and I love Tom Hardy as the Venom, Eddie Brock character.
His
I was
accent
like, what?
kills me.
Oh, it's so bad, but I think that's why I love it so much. It's like for such a creeped out, weird ass character as Venom is like, yeah, just go way too far with it. I mean, that's what it needs to be. Very cool. So I think something I was curious about, Parker, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I think we're seeing a very weird kind of transition right now. Some reports came out as of late that because of obviously the current situation, because of work from home, because of COVID, because of all of that, some production companies, some movie houses, properties are all trying to have to re-navigate. And it was actually brought out that Black Widow might actually be introduced on Disney Plus and not go to the theaters first, obviously because of our current situation and all of that stuff. And so it just makes me wonder, with obviously the current situation, with obviously this new kind of dynamic. One, realistically, are theaters going to survive? And two, do you think that Disney Plus is going to lead the way for kind of that streaming integration of what feature film release actually works on?
It's funny. I think regarding the movie theaters, I don't know that anybody accounted for a worldwide pandemic, so I don't know that anybody had a balance sheet that would carry them through this without some sort of mess coming from it. But with that said, I know that they pushed back the Black Widow film, and there's kind of a time contingency. So either this goes on for a lot longer than we expected, and then they have no choice but to stream it. Because I know right now there's a lot of companies that are doing the kind of home theater thing. So you can see a movie that was supposed to be released at the time that it was. You can see it now, and it's like $20 basically. And it's like if you got a four-person family, it's like $5 a ticket or something. So you can rent the movie from home like you'd see it in the theater. But I think that as far as the streaming goes, I truly believe that's the direction we're heading. I think that there's a novelty to going to the movies. Obviously, that novelty is kind of dead right now. We have no choice. But I think that the idea is that TVs are becoming more, more technologically advanced. If you go see a movie in the theater, you're seeing it a 720p quality. So it's not as good as some of these 4K TVs that you can watch them on at home in much better clarity. So I think right now, they're kind of, if anything, I think maybe their hand is being forced and they have to deliver phase 4 in streaming, which personally I would hate. I truly like to go to the theater and I'd like to see things on the big screen. But again, that's all dependent on how long this stupid pandemic stretches. So we'll see.
It's kind of interesting because I kind of have thought about, what, even before the pandemic happened, I've always kind of considered like, what is the next phase? We already saw that theaters were, I don't want to say struggling, but it was not as prominent situation as it was in prior years. And so it was one of those situations where it was like, okay, are we going to actually see that feature films are going to move to, a situation like streaming, like Netflix, like Hulu, like all of that stuff. And so it does make me kind of wonder, are we going to see that? Are we going to move to that? Are we going to, we going to,
it's possible if you consider that it seems that big features like Endgame, the Endgame series, or any of those really big budget features, that seems to be the things that are keeping the theaters alive. But it seems like you have some of these lower budget movies or some of these other movies that aren't tied to Marvel or Star Wars or any of the big names. They don't bring in as much money as they can. So they float until these big theater box office busters. And it seems like the theater might be going the way of the shopping mall. It's people are becoming more and more accustomed to staying indoors and staying at home, which is funny because now we're by law required to. But more and more people, it seems, are actually doing better with this than they thought they would. I, for one, am an extrovert, but my introvert's coming out, and I'm discovering, parts of myself. I'm just fine staying at home, hunkered down with my wife, and streaming things from the TV. And I truly believe I could live the next, 6 months to a year out like this if I had to. And I think more and more people are thinking
opposite.
like that.
I'm the opposite. I kid you not. Like this goes to all this. Like I don't mind being home if, obviously like I'm okay with it. Cause every now and then I do like the nice quiet night at home, but I have found myself like, even when you're watching some of these movies, I'm like, I think back to, I watched this in the theater. I think part of that is because the sound quality in my own, home theater is not anywhere near what you get at any other movie theater. So I think there is that aspect of it that is going to keep, I think, theaters going. Not to mention, you're looking at spending $20 to watch a movie at home, right? Movie companies or like production companies, like that's money lost for them, I think, because when you charge easily $10 to $15 a ticket per person to go watch this movie, the family of 6 that is watching it for $20, that's money saved for them, but you're losing out on easily $60 to $70 right there. So I think I think you're right. I think eventually maybe we will go to this home movie streaming thing, but I don't think it will go as fast as far as like shopping malls, for example, have gone. And I think because you still have people like myself that I do find this enjoyment of, yes, I can watch it at home, but I also do like the atmosphere of watching it in a theater of, kind of you're watching it with other people. Of course, you don't know anyone else in the theater, but like watching, the release of his new superhero movie and like having the same, like a whole room of like 150 people going, like when something happens, like Luke Skywalker finding out Darth Vader's his father.
In another world,
his mother.
Luke, I'm your mother.
That brings a whole another set of questions to the table.
Right.
I have so many questions.
We just jumped to another parallel universe.
Yep.
Yeah.
On podcast number 2, we're going to talk about Star Wars
realm.
and Darth Vader being his mother. Okay.
Many worlds.
The quantum realm. Yeah, no. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like just the whole, like there is this really cool thing about like you're in a room with people you don't know and you're still reacting all the same way. And there's still that same shared love for what you're watching, especially, even look at like scary movies, horror movies, for example, I oddly enough find enjoyment of like hearing the reactions of people around me than actually watching movies myself. I find that more enjoyable, but I think it won't go away nearly as quickly as maybe you think it will, or anyone thinks it will. Simply because I don't think movie studios make anywhere close to what they would if, a normal movie ticket. Not to mention you still have people who, want to go out and do this. Also for the novelty.
It's funny. I agree 100% with you regarding that. The idea of revenue and income, they rely on box office ticket sales. In fact, deals are made. The whole original concept of Sony letting Marvel use Spider-Man.
Who can keep up to date anymore?
As an entity was the original deal. I believe was 5% of box office day one gross, which is how much money is coming in from the box office on the first day of showing at the movie theaters. And they were taking that chunk home, and that was allowing them to have a deal worked out before what they've currently got now. So they rely heavily on those box offices. And I do agree, because I personally, there's a novelty to going to the movie theater, that's been around since, the 60s and 70s or whatever it came out, seeing Star Wars Episode 1. And for me, for instance, Rise of Skywalker was saved by the box office big screen experience. It was a beautiful movie to watch visually. The story is another thing entirely, but I was on Instagram the other day and I saw it was like, you still get chills from this experience or whatever. And it was in, hopefully I'm not spoiling this for anybody at this point, but it was in an Endgame when Captain America's standing there, facing off against Thanos and his horde. And then the portals open up and everybody jumps out of them. And the audience reaction was captured in this video. And I still got chills. There's still there's an element of going to the movie theater and being interactive with everyone else there when they freak out or get excited over something. You feel kind of like you're in that war too, not to be cheesy or anything, but there is an excitement factor that comes from being at the movie theater rather than being on your couch in the living room. I love my setup, but I like the theater too, for its own novelty purposes.
Tim, I mean, you think about it, like, can you imagine if like Endgame, for example, had come out streaming instead of in the theaters? I don't know if I'd have the same reaction I would have when I did watch it in the theater. Oh, yeah, I totally, yeah. No, I think watching in the theater, there is added atmospheric feeling to it. So I think maybe eventually down the road, but definitely not. I don't think anytime soon. I think theaters are still going to be a thing, for exactly the reasons that we've stated.
The other thing that I think is for us extroverts, do theaters stay in production or in business because people are in this time where we're at home and we have to watch movies at home? Do they now appreciate it more? Are they going to spend the extra money to go out to a theater now because they've had this experience with there's a number of ways that we could go with this.
They could go seasonal.
Yeah.
Between big releases,
Yeah. And I think, we've already seen theaters go into a situation where it's like, they're trying to offer more. They're trying to do dinner. They're trying to do drinks. They're trying to do all of that stuff. And it's just, does it just look different? I mean, I think that's really the most interesting thing with all of this, all of the COVID stuff is does all of this just look different moving forward? Maybe not lose stuff, but does it just look different moving forward?
Yeah.
So moving on to our last segment, Parker, we like to do kind of a fun segment for our last segment. It's our exaggerated hypotheticals segment. And in our wonderful From Home edition, we thought it'd be really fun to actually get into, Robert already told us that he likes to dress up in yellow spandex for his Wolverine outfit. So, we already know what that's going. But if you could have any superpower, any sidekick, if you could live in the superhero world, what would be your choice? What would be your thing to try and save the world from all evil, from all horribleness?
Okay, this is going to sound extremely nerdy, but in junior high, I created a comic strip and actually designed a character, listed off all the abilities, had a backstory, everything. It called the Peregrine, and the Peregrine was a superhero it was basically a bird of prey. But if you know about the peregrine falcon, it's the fastest, most deadly bird of prey out there. It can fly. I think it can hit a dive speed of over 200 miles an hour. It can see up to almost 5 miles away. I was fascinated by this bird, and so I'm like, what if there was somebody that had this ability, so it could fly at supersonic speeds or even faster, and had proportionate strength and everything. Real simple stuff, but the peregrine would be. I think if I had that ability, I'd be set.
I don't want to go now. That was way thought out and really good. Holy crap.
This is a little kid mind, by the way.
Well, I know, but oh my goodness. I don't know. Robert, you go. I don't want to go right now.
Why do I have to go? Jeez.
Yeah.
No. I keep going. So thinking about this, I've actually been thinking about this because I know we had planned it for this episode, but I was like, I could make it really funny, or I could make it really serious. And I just think because that's just my personality, is sometimes I get really deep into something, or I get very like, not super like meh, or I don't care, but because I like to have fun with it. So it's oddly enough, I was thinking it was like, a guy. No, that sounds dumb, because never mind. Hold on. I was gonna say it was a guy who's well, it was gonna be like this. My superpower is definitely like amazing sarcasm, and then my sidekick is gonna be like the literal literal boy or whatever, literal man. So, but then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that just sounds like a combination of like Deadpool and Drax. Because I'm like Deadpool, super sarcastic, and you have Drax like, you were ugly. You know, like it's just
not getting any of the jokes.
Yeah. So I'm like, it'd be like a very comedic thing, but I think I'll take it back. Like I'll say like, I don't know about a superhero, but like a really interesting combo matchup would be like Deadpool as a superhero and his sidekick is Drax, because I think just the main story would be like nothing. Everything you focus on the side stories and the side conversations, because I think you'd be hilarious.
Damn, those are two pretty good ones. I don't know if I want to follow up any of that.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good. I think if I this is gonna sound like a cop out, but I'm just gonna say it. I think I'm a Deadpool fan, obviously, and I'm not trying to cop out. But healing power, I mean, look at all of these superhero movies where they just get beat to living hell. I mean, seriously. They're just bruised and battered and like destroyed by the end of these like movies and comic books and all this stuff. And I was like, I just having the ability to just heal from that right away and just come back. Wolverine's power, Deadpool's power, whatever.
So I want to be Deadpool. You want to be Wolverine, but I got it. Okay,
well, technically,
this
Deadpool
is how friends make up.
Is a that's the story arc. We hate each other at the beginning and we make up by the end. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna go healing power because once the movie where Wolverine got shot in the head and then his little, I was like, yep, I want that because I know Superman is bulletproof and all of that stuff, but he got wrecked by kryptonite, and I don't think kryptonite's gonna wreck Wolverine, so. Which is
why when he died, I was so sad. I was like, no, he can't die. He has to heal from this. Lord, help him. It was, I think other than the whole, Endgame Iron Man thing, I think that movie, I was like, I'm so torn. This was like a great death, the death he deserved.
I've never cried at a superhero movie except Logan and Endgame. It's like, really? Come on, guys. Are you really trying to make this like a sentimental like cry thing?
It was like Logan, I guess, not that he deserved death, but if the death that he got was, I think, deserving, I guess you could say, like, it was done well. But I was still like, why? No.
Fun comic book fact. You're onto something with the healing factor, though. Deadpool did regenerate from literally a drop of blood. So in one instance, I mean, it's pretty profound.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why healing fat, you can live through anything. He lived through the freaking fire in the freaking movie. He gets burned up and just regenerates from that. I'm like, I want that stuff. Screw all the other
Wolverine
stuff.
Wolverine survived like 300 years, so.
Several wars.
He didn't survive the end, and Deadpool's still alive, so just saying.
I think they killed him because Hugh Jackman couldn't play him forever. Hugh Jackman himself is not immortal.
His healing factor only goes so far.
Yes.
He can't do his own stunts that much anymore.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, so fun fact. I know this is going to be Batman oriented, and I know, Robert, you hate Batman, so maybe I just won't ask you, and Parker gets to participate. But if you could have a utility belt and you had cool gadgets and gizmos in your utility belt, what would be cool gadgets and gizmos you would have in your utility belt?
Quite simply, I want a Batarang. My buddy had these. He had these steel. Actually, no, you remember Jacob Anderson, right? Mm-hmm. Trombone, marching band. He had those steel Batarangs that you could actually throw into a wall. And I threw one. And I nailed it. I'm like, that's the sickest thing. I want to get proficient at that. So I think a Batarang, maybe smart, cloaking, technological, whatever, but a Batarang.
That'd be dope. Roberto, how about you?
A Wi-Fi hotspot.
Wait, what?
That's literally in your pocket every day.
What if I have to check my bank account? How many millions do I have?
You asked that question, and the first thing that popped in my mind, and I couldn't get past, I'm like, oh, Wi-Fi hotspot. Like, it's a hotspot on my belt. I don't ever have to worry about not having Wi-Fi again. And I think a big part of that right now is just because, like, I really can't go anywhere else and do work. because they don't have Wi-Fi or I can't sit like to use. So I have to stay home to do work. So I think that's part of it. Like I could walk to the park and do my work in the park. And yes, I can do it on my phone, but that's not the same.
You know what's funny?
Wi-Fi hotspot.
Ryan Reynolds' phone company offers free Wi-Fi hotspot.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This weird parallel we have is amazing.
We need like VPN access from all of our work from home. Just the utility belt is like automatic VPN. Oh man, those are good. I don't know if I could beat those.
Mine wasn't good. Mine was just funny. It's okay.
I know this sounds really stupid, but I want tracking on my utility belt that'll allow, you know how the Batmobile just shows up out of nowhere and it's just perfectly in the perfect spot that he can jump out of windows and it's just
so
there.
You want a Tesla. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much. But I want it to be in the exact spot at the exact right time.
Go park yourself.
Yep. Self-parking. It pretty much is a Tesla. I guess I just want a Tesla, so that's my utility belt.
The next Batmobile is going to be battery operated.
Dude, I would do it. The torque on those freaking Teslas, those are ridiculous. I could pull anything out of the wall.
Dude, it'd be perfect. I mean, nobody would hear him coming. He'd step on it, it'd just be silent down the boulevard.
He does that all the time, too. It's like he just shows up behind you. He's like, I'm Batman. And, you need a Tesla. That stupid tank in the freaking Nolan, that's not quiet at all.
Everybody knew he was coming.
Yeah, it's like fucking lie. Everybody knows. Everybody's like, where's Bat? Oh, there's Batman. Oh, I hear his tank. It's right over there. It's like, bro, there was some story plot holes in that one. Batman's not real. He blew up a bridge. Oh, I guess Batman's real. Okay, sorry. There's a semi truck upside down. Oh, yeah, I guess Batman's real. Okay, sorry. Oh,
that was a good question. I like that question.
I like that too.
Everybody needs a utility belt. Superhero 101. All right, gents. Last comments before we wrap up. Any fun superhero facts need to know for any of our wonderful listeners out there? What is the next beautiful movie that they need to go see? All the superhero movies on the.
Oh, watch Super. Just watch Super. What's his face from The Office? I can never remember. Dwight from The Office.
Oh, I don't know about this. I might have to check this out.
It's kind of a low budget film, but I believe it's who's the guy that did the Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
The director,
James Gunn. Gunn.
Yeah, I believe this is a James Gunn film. It's one of his first ones, but it's Dwight as a superhero. It's an older, I think mid to late 2000s. But
okay.
Yeah.
Robert, what's your
I had not heard of that.
Watching of choice?
I don't know. It's weird because now that like Endgame has happened, I don't know where it's weird. It's like I don't know what story is coming next. It's like when you finish a series, like you watch the series finale, it's the end. You're like, now what do I watch?
What happens what I mean? After that?
So yep. I think I don't know. I don't see anything on the horizon that I'm super hyped about. That being said, I think I'm curious to see maybe any spin-offs that come from the Marvel movies. Like we have Black Widow, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sort of spin-off from those Marvel movies. So I think something to look for is see how they progress that story forward. After you killed the king, the big boss, right? So it's like, now what? So I think that's something to look for. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, that's true. But I think that is I think to kind of really quick play off of that, I think DC now sees this as their opportunity. They had Justice League and all that. So I think this is now their opportunity to kind of like maybe play to a market where there's not really a storyline yet. So it would be interesting to see how they develop those, because I think they did a really good job with like Aquaman and with Wonder Woman.
I'm excited for the Flash movie.
Yes, they better do the Flash movie right. They got Wonder Woman right. They got Aquaman right. Justice League was questionable, and Batman, v Superman, that was questionable. But I want to see. I love
Joker
these.
was fantastic.
That's a whole nother podcast we could get in. I loved Joker, but that was so controversial. I think my watching, I'm gonna go 90s on everybody. Batman animated series. There's something so nostalgic and fantastic about that. Mark Hamill, yep, Luke Skywalker playing the Joker. There's something fantastic.
I forgot he did that.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
his
the best.
laugh. His laugh is iconic. Mark Hamill, I know he played Luke Skywalker, and everybody says that's the best character. The Joker from the Batman animated series, best character ever that Mark Hamill played. He captured that. That is the Joker for me. When I hear that laugh, that is the Joker laugh. So go watch the Batman animated series. Gents, before we wrap up, we need to do some beer critiques. We have 3 different beers today. So Parker, start us off. How was your beer? Your 14% beer.
Yeah.
How was your beer?
It was good. Traditionally I hit a dichotomy. I like stouts and porters, and I also like fruit forward beers and sours. Nothing really in the middle, but I give this
sours.
a solid one. This was a very fun stout. Typically it's coffee and chocolate. This had cinnamon and peppers and a whole bunch of stuff. So very impressed with this one. I think I'll be getting it again.
Robert and I are going to send you the wit yeast beer.
Oh my God.
The which one?
The wit yeast. It was wit yeast.
So wheat and yeast?
No,
it was just wit yeast.
It was called Wit. It was called Wit the Funk. It was from the brewery from California. I think, and this is the way the label was a tongue twister and a half. 2, we both discovered that we are not into sours at all.
Wit the Funk. I like that. It's a wheat sour beer. That is fantastic.
Yes. So you check it out. We'll pass.
I love sours so much. They're fun. I'm not a beer drinker necessarily, but one of my favorite things is exploring new brews. That's kind of become a little fun thing for me.
Well, you can
check it out. Let us know what you think. You will. I think you might enjoy it. You might enjoy it.
All right, rating 1 to 10, Parker. What would you give your beer?
Mine was a solid 8.
Solid 8.
Not the best thing I've ever tasted, but it was a definite buy again.
Nice. Nice. Mr. Robert Garza, what'd you have, and what would you rate it?
My wit to beat wit. I'm saying wit now instead of wheat. My wheat to beat the heat. Apparently it's done a great job. It's measly 5% alcohol by volume. That's why when you were like, mine's 14, I was like, well, crap, I need a better beer. But no, actually it was pretty good. Definitely light. Definitely what you think I actually do like Hefeweizens. Like those are one of my favorite kind of beers. This one, like I said, light. We did have a light blogger in the last episode. This is definitely better. It's to me, I get a very strange. It's if Blue Moon was somehow also Coors Light, if that makes sense. It's not like the heaviness of
take that, but
kind of a cloudy beer.
It is. You can tell there's almost like a thickness to it. There's a full body to it, but it's not the same heaviness of what you would get drinking a Blue Moon. It's almost like the same lightness of drinking like a Coors Light or a Bud Light or something. Like something a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna have to. This is a solid. Especially as we enter summer. For us, it's just another normal day. As we enter this time of the year for us, this is definitely a good chilling. Hopefully soon by the pool beer on the lake. Something. It's not super heavy. It's super light. It has a great flavor to it. I'm gonna give this a solid 8 as well. Definitely not one of the best beers I think I've had, but it's a good solid one. You can't go wrong with it. So for Santan Brewing Hefeweizen, you get an 8. Caleb, what about you, sir?
Well, your
road rash. How's your road rash?
That the road rash hurts really bad. I mean, that road rash. Sorry.
How's that road rash from that brewery?
I'm gonna go that brewery and that road rash. Okay, so sorry. Joke over. I'm gonna stay on the 8 train. I'm gonna go with the 8 train. Everybody's been going. I was really surprised by this beer. I was not expecting a whole lot. I know the brewery's out of, I think they have one in Pine Top or Pine or something, Arizona.
It's Huss, right?
Is what?
No, it's
Huss
that.
Brewing?
it's
Yeah. Oh.
Is that brewing?
We just had like a
Is
full
that
5
brewing,
minute.
bro? Is that brewing? No Huss Brewing. Is that brewing?
Good morning, Parker.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yep. So I'm gonna go a solid 8. It really surprised me. I was not expecting an IPA that good. Good 7%, not Parker's 14%, but whatever. Can't match that. But yeah, super dope beer. If you guys are IPA drinkers, I would not say that it would be a bad choice to go that way. So
Nice.
Very nice.
We'll all have to like sample each other's beers or something, like do a swap.
yeah, when we get out of freaking quarantine or whatever the hell this is.
I'm late to the IPA party, but I'm starting to appreciate them. They're an acquired taste for sure.
Parker, you can come on the podcast anytime you want.
He needs to try Victory. He needs to try the Golden Monkey.
I think I've had Victory.
Dude, we're all about the Victory Brewing.
The Golden Monkey
yeah.
still, to this date, is the only perfect 10 on our podcast.
Really?
So far.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I think
Fantastic.
there's maybe been one other 9, maybe, but this was like a 10 plus. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Even I was
Robert
like,
had to change his grade because
I did. I had to retroactively go back and re-rate it because I was like, nope, that was better.
See, an 8's a comfortable broken pair of house slippers on a cold winter day. So that's you can't beat that. But anything better than that?
Yep.
No, it was.
Well, Parker,
that was pretty.
thank you for joining us today. This has been fantastic.
It's
I'm
been
sure
fun. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
if we have more superhero needs in the future, I think we're going to bring you on because you have the knowledge base to make sure that we're staying in line.
Kind of. I fall short from some of the better ones, but
You're doing better than me, bro. I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of people in the
Take
comments
the
who are-
win. Take the win.
I don't want it.
the people in the comments are going to be like, Parker knows so much more than you. You just need to not talk about
And he has such a
superhero
sexy
stuff."
voice. Oh my
He's got a
god.
sexy voice, and he talks about beer so well.
Thank you, guys.
So Parker wins the day. Parker wins the day. But seriously, good seeing you. I wish it was in person, but
Soon.
really happy that you're here.
Yep. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
To everybody else out there, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all social distancing. I know we're in a crazy time right here. I hope this podcast gave you a little bit of enjoyment and fun. Don't forget to check us out on all the other social platforms. We're trying to get on that. We're working on a YouTube channel. Literally today I started a YouTube channel. So working to see if we can get a YouTube channel with all the podcasts up on there. Check out the social media. Check out chatting with us. If you have any ideas for a future podcast, let us know.
And check out Parker's podcast as well.
Yes, we didn't plug Parker's podcast. Check out the
Plug it
Spider-Man
in,
Snacks
plug it in.
Idiots podcast. It's fantastic. And you can go see the sexy voice newsreel that Parker does every week. Thank you for being here with us. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.